it's Matty coming at you with another Planet Coaster Park Spotlight. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the video and welcome to Park Edard, created by MisterAntonio. Now, I am extremely excited to have a very special guest with me today. Now, there are some that say that she is to Planet Coaster as to what Baby is to the Spice Girls. I have the queen of Twitch herself, Poetry Slam 78. How are you doing, Poet?
that was amazing, Matty. Thank you. I'm doing well.
Well, I didn't know which Spice Girl to go with, if I'm honest. I thought Baby, Ginger, Scary, and I just decided to go with Baby. So it was the first one that came to mind. But how are you doing anyway?
It works. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm proper excited to get into this park because MisterAntonio excels at realism, and I believe this is a park that will really show off to you, obviously being a PC creator, just what some of us console guys is capable of. Now, as we just come out to the park entrance tunnel just here, we're coming round to the car park. If you just have a look at this car park and like some of the detailing in what we've got around here, Poet, it's just sensational. I love to see this. It's very Moomin style with like all the little backstage areas and everything as well.
Yeah, it really is. It definitely is reminiscent of Moomin, but on console, which is really, really just kind of mind-blowing. I love those trucks. I love the car park. It's
Car park's
so good.
sensational. I believe so much of the console community has taken inspiration as well from you PC guys as well. We've been watching Channel 5 Gaming for years, and then obviously Moomin and Nerd Chat Show, Wix, all these other amazing creators that we've been seeing for so long and wanting to emulate them. So a lot of us have had parks built in our minds for years before we ever even had the game come to console. So just the fact that we can now do it as well, and obviously we have the smoother game mode, so we may not be able to always build as much, but I mean, just this overhead shot, look at this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really does look like, I love the bus parking too. There's the one way in, the one way out. I mean, it's spectacular, and then the car park goes right out along with the buses. It's just very, very well thought out.
Yeah, and the car park seems a very realistic size to the park as well.
Yeah, it does.
I believe it was Moomin that actually said, like, kind of, you want to try and have your car park about half the size of your park, give or take.
Yep.
And that seems very realistic. I love this flooring here, which is why I was just panning over that. So for anyone that's watching, this is a pre-recorded video. Because I'm having to do it with Poet, this is all pre-recorded, so it's not my usual live, and I'll give the raw reactions. So and I may be hovering over things and maybe not commenting on them, and it might not make a lot of sense, so that would be why. But I was hovering over that floor just because I love the different floor textures. And just as we follow this road down here, we've got this entire backstage area back here, but it's accessible. He's thought about that realism, and yeah, I'm going to put a backstage area behind my rides, behind my shops, but how is it going to get accessed? And
Right.
he's thought about that all the way through.
Yeah, and that stuff, it's really, it's a lot to think about when you're making a park. The more realistic you want to make it, then you have to think about, how will I have access to these areas? Where will the main deliveries be made? How will the deliveries within the park be made? Are we going to use our own small vehicles in park? What access points do I need for large lorries or larger trucks? How am I going to handle wheelchair access? Things like that. They just build up and build up and build up, and it's really, really, it's difficult to hit all of those points.
It's something that I've never tried to do. I try to do realism in my parks, but never to the point where I've had to think about that kind of the access points. And it's just something that MisterAntonio has just absolutely nailed here. And then this park entrance just blows my mind. It's just so beautifully done, like kind of the symmetry and the architecture that he's done, the differing angles that he's got. And there's actually a train that actually goes through the middle of that as well. There is actually a train line in that, and I just think it's just beautiful building, very realistic for a park, very wide, open and expansive as well.
It's very Disney-esque in that it has the train with the entrance building like that. But gosh, otherwise it's completely original, and I really love it. I see you checking out those floors again too. I, I
I'm a
love
sucker for
the
the floors.
turning of the brick of the rotation of the brick to kind of break up the expanse of the floor.
Yeah. It just really adds to it as well. It's all well and good using the roof tile pieces, which a lot of us do use. I use them a lot as well. But it's very easy to fall into the trap of, okay, I'm just going to go the entire way the same direction. But sometimes just turning them around, spinning them, maybe even using a different texture one or a different coloured one, it just adds so much to it, and it can add so much more realism, depth and vibrancy to a park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when you have a really, really large space like that too, it helps to define it a little bit and to not make it look so large and boring when you do rotate that and give yourself a little bit of extra texture and extra pattern without adding anything more to your piece count, which is really important on console.
And we've got a water feature
I
right by
love
the
it.
entrance. I love it. I just think this park just screams beauty, and it screams very real. It feels like somewhere that I would go. It feels like I'm going back somewhere, like kind of, oh, I used to go there as a kid kind of
It
thing.
feels
It
like
just
a
feels so
German
real.
park.
Yes, I
It,
believe Mr. Antonio is German. I believe. Now, I apologize if I'm wrong in saying that, but I'm 90% sure that he is.
it just so many of the elements just, and it might be why I'm really, really like feeling connected to it because it just makes me think of everything that's around my home.
Yeah.
It just feels very German and definitely the kind of park that I would walk into and go, okay, we're going to spend the day here and we're not going to be exhausted at the end of the day. We're going to feel just relaxed and refreshed because, yeah, it's a theme park, but clearly it's a park setting as well, which is lovely.
100%. And I love the colouring as well. I love the subtle yellow. It's not colour that I would ever really go to. It's not a colour that I would think of to use for a theme park because it feels more kind of like stately home or estate or something like that. But it works. It's just such a subtle yellow, and as we go around the park as well, you'll actually notice that there are like some small country homes inside the park as well. So it almost feels like it was this big estate that was owned by, I don't know, some kind of like prince or some kind of royalty or something like that, and then a theme park has brought the rights to the land and they built a theme park, but they weren't allowed to delete these buildings that were pre-existing there, so they've kept them there. So there may be like kind of a little house on the park that's actually lived in, which is actually in Alton Towers as well. If you go to Alton Towers in the UK, there are actually houses in Alton Towers itself that people live in the middle of the park.
Yep, it was wild when I was there to see that.
Just all this foliage that's all done. It's just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, we have this drop coaster here, which goes over
Yeah.
the giant water feature. So, of course, I love it straight away. And it's just this sight line that you've got here. Now, what did I do here? Did I hover? I think I hovered around for a little bit. Yeah, I've sped up the camera. It's like, bearing in
Yeah.
mind, guys, I recorded this about 4 weeks ago, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar myself with this, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm just waiting for the coaster to come down just so we can see the triggers.
Yeah, I was noticing the skyline of it when we were kind of panning up to it. I really, really like the way that it fits in with the park itself. It's not ostentatious, right? Like the coaster speaks for itself, and I
Yeah,
really like that. Oh, that's fantastic.
it's really nice just
Yeah,
with the use
great
of
work with the
triggers
triggers
there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% what you said as well. It's quite tactfully placed as well. It's not really in your like island. Even from the outside of the park, you could be forgiven for realizing that this wasn't even a theme park because it's subtle. It's not got the great big like giga coasters or the hyper coasters in the background, like dominating the skyline. It is quite subtle and everything's quite low to the ground, which again is like a lot of real life theme parks that do have these restrictions in them that they're not allowed to build over tree heights and things like that.
Oh, I love this building. I really, really love this building a lot.
It's very modern. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different shapes coming off it. And I actually thought that the entrance was round there, so I'd actually got lost. So Adler, I believe that's called Adler. I'm
Adler.
going
Yeah, it
with it.
looks like it.
And we just walk down this queue line. You can see that we've got the brake run that comes right over the top of the queue path, which I really like. There's a transfer track just to our right, which I'll have a look at in a second. But we've just got this little cattle pen queue here that comes underneath this canopy. Really nicely done. Love
Great
that.
queue.
It
Yeah.
looks like the transfer track, how it goes off to the side there. The queue line merges in with it, kind of thing. It's just coherent. A coherent, like, kind of going across, and I love that. It's like you almost miss the transfer track being here because of the way he's done the queue line.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's integrated, which you would find in a park because it's much more budget friendly to do it like that. So it matches with the realism factor of that.
100%. Oh, right, we're coming through into the station. Now, did I have a look at stats? I honestly cannot remember. I most likely did. Let's have a look, shall we? Matty, did you look at stats? Yes, I did. There we go. Yay. Right, so we are not quite green across the board, but as always, that doesn't always matter. The G-forces, perfectly reasonable. 5.04. Yeah, some really nice natural G-forces. So, first ride of the park. Let's do it. Enjoy, everybody. So, there we go. Poet, what did you think of that?
I thought that was spectacular. What a beautiful coaster. Perfect for the thrills with the drop and the nice little roll there. And also great for the views when you're at the top there getting ready to drop down. You have a second to look and you see the flowers off to the side. It just looks gorgeous all the way around. It's got everything you could possibly want.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it was beautifully implemented into the park. I think it was the perfect choice of ride for what it is that you've got here. I think the ride itself was super smooth, ridiculously smooth. I know that you built this using the 4-meter method as well. And something that I will notice later on as we go through the video, I didn't notice it as I was actually on this ride, but every ride in the park is custom supported as well. So later on in the video, you will see me kind of like come back over here like, is this custom supported? Yes, it is. But just that sight line, just as you look at that initial drop there, honestly, it's just sensational. Absolutely
It really
brilliant.
is.
Beautifully executed. Yeah, great job. Can't add anything more to that. Really, really nice ride. And I love the fact that it kind of like comes up through the ground there as well. I'm pointing at the screen, Poet. Can you see me pointing?
I can.
you? Good,
All
good.
the way from Germany, I can.
Normally, people can't see me when I'm pointing, and they're like, "Matty, why are you pointing?" But you could. I'm glad that you could see it. I'm glad that
see
you got what I'm
everything.
saying. There you go.
I can see. I can see all.
I love how he's used the don't die fencing just there.
Yes.
Just little subtle things. Just that little tiny touch of realism. I mean, what's that? 5 pieces just under the track. Realism. Bang. Thinking of the gas safety. You come back round here. You've got the backside of this building here. You got the ladder so you can reach the top. And then this was the access road that we were looking at earlier on in the spotlight.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Come around the side of the park. So again, access point for the lorries to be able to come round as well. Just the way that he's thought about this, honestly, I love it. Again, I don't want to keep going on about Moomin, but it's just very Moomin. It's very a British park style, like kind of thinking about the access road going around the entire park and then into the back of the park for the access for the trucks and everything.
Yeah, oh, it definitely is.
We're
I
coming
love
up
the
to
interaction with the pathing here. I love when I go to a park and there's a coaster that I can just stand there and watch before and after I ride it.
Yeah, I love it when you're queuing for it and you can see it, like and as the coaster's rattling over the top of you. And
Oh
this
yeah.
poet, I talk about this a lot. So subtle elevation changes, and I'll say to people that I don't want to see Mount Everests, I don't need to see the Himalayas all over your parks, but just these little tiny subtle elevation changes under your coasters throughout your park, and it can just add so much to your park. And it will be, well, the park doesn't look flat because you've got this little subtle elevation change. But it was at this point here I realized it was custom supported, because I'm like, how has he managed to get the path going under there? I'm like, oh, custom supported, that's clever. And then I was like, oh, well, if that's custom supported, the rest of the ride custom supported as well. And that was it then. I was like kind of now going through the park trying to work out how much of it was custom supported. And yeah, it looks so naturally. You'd be forgiven for realizing that this wasn't custom supported because it's done it so well.
Oh yeah.
So I believe that one there was, but then the actual main pillars of the actual structure itself again look just custom supported. And I barely realized because they're so perfectly done. Yeah, great job with that. It's not something I've ever attempted to do, is custom supporting. I'm not sure if I ever will, because it just seems a little bit daunting to me. And it just takes up such a big piece count on console as well, when we're already restricted in what we... Anyway, let's sort of head back over to Jaeger. And let's walk up the queue path and into the station. So a nice simple queue path, nothing too excessive going on here. And again, nice subtle station. It's not massively overdone, but it's nice and subtle and discreet. It almost looks like an old home that's been converted into a ride station.
It does.
I had to have a look down the stairs as well, but there was nothing there. I had to check. But we have Jaeger, the second ride of the park, so let's have a look at the stats. Again, it's not green across the board, but once again, G-forces, really nice, very respectable limits, quite realistic. So second ride, let's do it, enjoy. So there we have Jaeger. Beautifully executed once again. Really nice choice of ride for the park. Had some great inversions, kept up a really nice momentum from start to finish. I was loving some of the inversions that were going on there. You've got some custom inversions built in. Again, built using the 4-meter method. I love the elevation changes that are going on throughout, the use of the foliage. I just think it was fantastically done. Just a great ride once again, and very much like Adler as well, a really good brake run as well. Something I love to see coming into the station at a nice, respectable, realistic speed as well. Poet, what did you think?
I thought it was amazing. I really it's a ride I would ride. You know, there's not anything that's improbable or outrageous. It's just perfect, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree. This is almost alluding to what I was saying earlier on about like kind of the little home in the middle of the park as well, but this has been modified into a toilet block. But again, there's that little backstage area there as well. We've got the carousel over here. Again, simple and effective. It doesn't need thousands of pieces all the time to make it work. It's just very subtly put over the water. You've got the lights going around it, and that's just perfect. That's all it needed. It didn't need thousands of pieces. It's just simple, effective, but done to perfection. And it looks beautiful. Gives a great effect. And we're coming up to something in a second that I've got a feeling that Poet is going to absolutely love. Now, I know that MisterAntonio didn't build this himself. This was taken by NH99 off the workshop. I see this playground all the time. But we've got the deck chairs just around.
I love these chairs.
the play area. And then we've got this play area as well. So NH's play area, which I think this is one of the most common workshop items I see in Spotlight's, Poet. It just crops up all the time, because it's just so well done. Beautiful.
Well, I love a good playground, because I put playgrounds in every single one of my parks. And so seeing that just makes me very happy.
I believe that's kind of like this half of the park done. And we'll just follow on around here. So again, just another little subtle home, just kind of like placed back here. You could just imagine somebody like kind of living in that at some point, but again, it's being converted into some staff rooms back there as well. Just everywhere. Look, there's paint tool being used everywhere. Honestly, just everything has been done to such good effect. And then we've got this path here. Now, when I initially looked over the park originally, I didn't realise this path was here. And you've actually got paths that actually connect the park as well, kind of like going through the middle, and it goes through these built up foliage areas, like through the woods, just through the gardens, if you will. And just really nice effect as well. It goes right the way through as well. Quite subtly hidden. You wouldn't even realise them paths are there either.
Yeah, it's a nice refreshing retreat when it's a really hot sunny day. You know you're going to go below those trees and it's going to drop about 2 or 3 degrees and just feel really nice.
Yeah,
I love this addition to any park. I think it's really important to have these spaces in parks.
Yeah, sometimes you need them moments of tranquility as well, because a theme park can be quite a sensory overload as well, and you may have like kind of people in your company that do require that little bit of downtime, just that reading time, and just to be able to like kind of have these little quiet sections where you may be able to just go and sit and have a drink or cool down, calm down, maybe even have your lunch. And yeah, just seeing them little areas added into a park, once again, it just adds to that realism, it adds to that immersion, and it makes me feel like this is a real live park. If you were to tell me like this is a real park in Germany and this was a recreation of a real park, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I believe that, I can see that, because that's how authentic it is.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely looks like a park you see. It really does. It just looks so German to me. I love it.
Rather than ride this car ride, we'll just go for an imaginary magical ride. I would just imagine you're on the car, okay? Suspend your disbelief just for a second and pretend you're on the car. Plus, this way we can have a look around as well. I love how he's used the green leafy bushes and the scavola and just dropped them below the ground to give weeds as well. Just adds so much to it. And then this water feature to our ride. Oh, love it. The use of rocks. Just honestly, it's fantastic. And then this building here as well, with all the ivy climbing up the side of it. Yeah, just really, really nicely done. Yeah. Great implementation once again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we're just coming round to the exit. Yeah, beautifully done once again. And again, very in fitting with the theme of the park that you have got as well. Like these kind of like posh cars. So, right, we'll hop out the exit and let's have a walk down here. Every building is different as well. You've got the same wall style and it's the same architectural style, but every single one is different. And no point of you taking the easy route and just copied and pasted. Like every building is uniquely done, but with the same style as well. Just amazing. And then as we have a look through here, so that's a ride exit just up there. Let's back out. Oh, we've just got some shops here, some toilets, a staff room, and everything. Just trying to work out where the entrance was.
Staircase with the waterfalls in between.
Yep.
It always makes a hot day seem not so hot, even if you don't touch the water. Just hearing the water and seeing the water makes things feel a lot more refreshing.
100%. 100%. I love the open area in the middle of the park as well. That's quite like Alton Towers. You could just sit on there and just have your picnic.
Yeah, I like a park where you can kind of spread out and just have a leisurely day of it. I mean, some people like to attack a park with a plan, and I'm going to go this coaster, this coaster, this coaster. And I'm more like, all right, well, you know, I want to ride all these coasters, but I'm also not going to make myself so worn out that I can't enjoy the coasters.
Yeah.
So having these little places of respite, because it's not like it's going anywhere. You can just go back next time and ride.
I think that may be a sign that we're getting a little bit older as well, to be fair, Perrit, to be honest. I don't think I could keep up with all the young kids running around going from coaster to coaster now. I'd love to try. I'd love to sit here and say, oh, yeah, I could do that, but I couldn't. I'm getting too old for that now, I'm afraid.
I will say when I went to Alton Towers and when I went to Europa Park for the first time, I did kind of like run for the coasters that I was most excited to ride.
I bet you slept that night then.
Yeah, I went out to the pub after. I have a ridiculous amount of energy for somebody at my advanced age.
Well, we won't disclose that. But anyway, let's hop into this log flume station. I love this. I think it's really nicely done. I love the use of the beams going across the top of the roof there. Really realistic. Looks very proper supported and everything. Just really nice job with the station. But with this being a log flume, I think we can have a good old chinwag as we go around this Perrit, because it's only a log flume. So let's have a good old talk as we go around, shall we? Let's have a look around and see what we've got. So we've got this water wheel just to our left here. I love how it comes underneath the path here. You've got the bubbles that are coming down as well. And
whoa, yeah,
very immersive. I feel kind of you can almost for a second forget. That you're on coaster and everything, and it gives some great sight lines as well. But right now we're going right over the queue path now, so they're actually queuing right below us, but we're coming through this what almost looks like kind of quite Disney-esque style tower. It almost reminds me of like kind of Tangled, like Rumpelstiltskin or something like that. Not Rumpelstiltskin.
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel, let down your hair.
You do a great Mother Gothel.
Oh, thanks.
That was frightening. I liked it.
I love Tangled. Tangled is like one of the best films ever. Frying pans, who knew? I just love all the sight lines you've got, and then obviously you've got the coaster interaction as well around you. And as we're coming around here, you can see some of this custom supporting as well that this coaster has got.
That coaster, and
the amount of time, dedication it must have taken. Have done that custom supporting on this ride, and as we'll see the ride later on, the ride's going right under this at the moment as well. But as we look at the ride later on in more depth, you can just see just how much he has done custom supporting, and can't copy and paste that because the angle that it's at no point can that be copy and pasted. So he's had to manually place every single wooden beam.
Oh yeah.
So
how do you do that? Do people that play console, do they hook a keyboard and mouse up, or are you all doing this with your controllers?
You can hook up a keyboard and mouse should you wish to. So for any PC players that were maybe hopping over to console because they just wanted to play on the PlayStation on the sofa or something, they can just easily link up a keyboard and mouse and play exactly the same way as you would be on a PC. But the vast majority of us do play on a control pad, myself included, but it's quite intuitive. Controls on the consoles are very intuitive for a game of this genre. The reason normally that console players don't experience games like your Planet Coasters, like your Sims, or any like your simulation kind of games, is because the control system. It's universally decided that console players can't play these games because of the control systems, but Frontier smashed it. This game absolutely.
Yeah, I was just wondering. That's one thing I've always wondered about, like how on earth are people getting the accuracy using controllers? But yeah, I guess Frontier really did great on the coding of that.
Yeah, well, we've got the sticks as well. So we've got the left sticks and the right sticks. So like kind of like little things like this, how we can pan. Like that's how I'm always getting these panning shots, because of the sticks you can, and like kind of the sticks are sensitive to the touch as well. So obviously the more you press it, the quicker it's going to go. If you just do it lightly, it'll only go slowly, and that's how we can kind of like place things quite intricately as well. And we've also got the snap method as well on the console, which PC doesn't have. So we can turn on snap movement, so we can lock it. So say for example we are putting lights down, we can say, right, snap it at every 2 meters, and you can go across and it'll just go every 2 meters across, whereas you guys have to place manually, don't you? So if you're like kind of trying to like and space things out, you have to do it by eye.
Well, we have snap and it will automatically go, but we can't make it to be the it's predetermined by the game, so we can't control whether it's 2 meters or 4 meters or 1.5 meters. So yeah, for most of it, we either eyeball it or we use other pieces to make sure that we have the pieces that we're actually going to use evenly spaced. So like we'll put in a bunch of the pieces, delete half of them after we're done, and that's kind of how we do it. Yeah.
Look at this sight line here. Just with the log flume coming out here, and then just this little tiny seating area here as well. So you've got the log flume on the left, you've got the coaster on the right, stuck in the middle with you, and then all this custom supporting going down here as well. Can't begin to imagine how long it would have taken him to do that. It just blows my tiny little mind.
Yeah, that's what made me think of asking how you place your pieces, because I was looking at this and they're just so perfectly placed.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. I was like, how do you do that with a controller? And I love how it's on both sides of the walking path too. You're like, wait, is this the same coaster? What's going on here? What is this?
It's an imposing coaster.
It is.
Wolf. It takes up a big footprint as well, and it goes around this entire area as well. Love the sign, just that custom font. And let's do it. That the main attraction of the park. I'm
gone. Oh yeah, this is German. Yeah. That was definitely a German word.
Got the fast pass queue just to our left there, and then as you're walking down the queue path, you've got the ride going all around you as well. You're walking underneath it, you're walking over it. You could just see the ride at all times, just whizzing around you.
Yeah, you're getting more excited. You're building that anticipation. You're ready to go when you get there. Your whole body, your whole limbic system is already like lit up.
Yeah,
I love how they've been able to build that excitement and anticipation with the queue here.
It's really nice job, really nicely executed queue, and I like not seeing the cattle pen queue system as well. It was a little bit more broken up this time as well, and we come into this. I mean, the queue's still going. Look at the length of this queue. I was about to say coming into the station, but we're not. This is still the queue path. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And look at just all the detailing on top. You've got all the barrels and the boxes on top. Just crazy. Anyway, final ride of the park. Wolf, let's have a look at the stats for this then. So again, it's not green across the board. Nobody cares. G-force is absolutely fine. So final ride of the park. Let's do it. Enjoy, everybody. Wow. Wow. Oh, wait, what did you think of that?
Well, you know when you're a kid and you get in the car and like 5 minutes into the ride, you're going, "Are we there yet?"
I still do
Well,
that. What are you on about?
5 minutes, not 5 minutes, like 5 seconds into this coaster, I was thinking in my head, "Can we ride that again yet?" I really loved it. I was like, as we're going through the coaster, I'm like, "Oh, look at this! Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that roof! Oh, look at those solid side walls! Look at the lights!" Like the whole thing was just it was amazing. I love wooden coasters, like in game and in real life. I'm a big wooden coaster fan, and this one has got to be. And I've played this game since release. Probably like my favorite wooden coaster I've been on. I love it.
Wow.
So good.
Wow. Big praise from Poet. And to be honest, rightfully so. I can hardly disagree with that. That whole ride is just a letter of love. The amount of time and effort you have put into that just blows my mind, and it's just done to perfection. Honestly, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible from start to finish. The queue path to the exit, literally everything done amazing. Can't get any better than that. I'm still talking about the coaster despite the fact that we've moved on. That's how good it was. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, Poet, we have got about 5 minutes left of this spotlight. So, for the very first time, just before this spotlight ends, this time you're doing this, Poetry Slam 78, give me your 3-word park review.
It is amazing!
Why is it Poet, who most likely didn't know that that was coming, is able to do that so quick? And yet when I do it with Michael, it's like, who I've done numerous spotlights with, and still can't get me a 3-word park review. It'll take him like 10 minutes. It's like, I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming, and I still can't think of anything. So, yeah, more to add. You don't need to elaborate on that, Poet. You are 100% right. It's amazing. My 3-word park review would be... I really should have thought of this myself as well. Beautifully... most realism yet. Then one of the most realistic parks I think I've actually spotlighted so far. And bearing in mind now I'm well over 100 spotlights, and this is up there amongst the most realistic parks that I have ever spotlighted.
I've got 3 more words.
Got 3 more words. Oh my days, Poet's actually doing 2. Go for it.
Well thought out. It was just a well thought out park. Like it really was.
It's very much one of them parks that you can tell that he didn't wing it. It's not like the type of park where he's like, okay, I've done that, okay, I'm just going to move over there now. He's thought about everything before he's done it. Like, kind of, this was very... It's almost like he's had pad and paper and actually drawn out the park. Right, okay, I've got this backstage area here. How am I going to access this? Okay, right, I've got that sorted. Right, okay, now I've got this in the centre of the park. How am I going to access that? And it just, like you said, everything just seems very well thought out. It's just this entire park is a labour of love. And once again, like I keep saying, and I'm ripping my hair out with this, how am I supposed to pick a top 10 of the year? You keep giving me parks like this. I've got to somehow, Poet, at the end of the year, do a top 10 parks of the year video.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know, Poet, because...
Well, good luck with that. I don't envy you.
I don't know how I'm going to do it, because honestly, some of the parks that I've spotlighted recently, I've had the Rome Park, I've had the France Park, I've got this park, I've got so many parks, the Rivendell Lord of the Rings Park, I had the Insomniacs Park, all of these parks that should be number 1. Guys, you're killing me. No, don't give me any more. Don't give me any more.
Can I give you one of mine?
I'm stopping spotlights until the end of the year. That's it, I'm done. I'm done, guys. I quit.
So what I would do is I would be like, here are the top 10 European parks. Here are the top 10 American parks. Here are the top 10 parks with exciting roller coasters. Here are the top 10 parks with beautiful flowers. Like, I am the participation trophy lady.
Or I could do the top 10 for January, the top 10 for February.
Right.
And I only released 12 a month, so that'll be easy.
Well, so here they do. what you do is you only do 10 spotlights a month, and then you do the top 10 of every month. That's sorted.
Genius. Poetry
I'm the idea
200
man.
IQ play. Big brain time. But we are coming up to the end of the video. Poet, it's been an absolute pleasure having you along. I have been desperate to get you on for a spotlight for so long, and this is the first time I'm trying to do it all myself, so hopefully if this goes well I'll be able to do it more, so I'll be able to have more guests on. I can have Nerd Chatter on, I can have Moomin on, I can have loads more people joining me for spotlights, but honestly it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed having you along. Yeah, thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a great time, and I'm super honored. I don't get to do the YouTube thing, and like you're kind of a big deal, so this is really cool. Thank you.
Oh, I'm not at all. I'm not as big as you on Twitch, so you flatter me. But but make sure and go over to Poetry Slam's Twitch channel. Trust me, you won't regret it. The link will be down below. I'll also leave some cards up in corners, so whenever you see Poet's name in the corner, make sure go and click it. Make sure to give her a follow on Twitch. It does obviously really help her out. You won't regret it. Really good time you have over there. And thank you ever so much for watching this video as well. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you all in a couple of days. Take care, stay safe, look after yourselves. Bye everybody. Say goodbye, Poet.
Goodbye, Poet.